horseradish, bitter truths you can't avoid. It is a curious thing, the death of a loved one. We all know that our time in this world is limited, and that eventually all of us will end up under some sheet, never to wake up. And yet it is always a surprise when it happens to someone we know. It's like walking up the stairs to your bedroom in the dark and thinking there is one more stair than there is. Your foot falls down through the air, and there is a sickly moment of dark surprise as you try and readjust the way you thought of things. We've come together today because of the loss of a woman that we all know and love, my dearest friend, Megan Renee Rosen. It's funny, I'm here to talk to you about Meg and the time that she had here on Earth, and one thing I can't get out of my head is a line from the movie Fast Times at Ridgemont High that was always quoted within her family. Well, if it's my time and it's your time, isn't it our time? Well, let's spend our time celebrating her life, because that's what she would have wanted. On August 25th, 1983, Dawn and Debbie Fox welcomed a beautiful baby girl into the world, and within a week, she was known as Megan Renee. Megan was always a hand and enjoyed singing and putting on shows for whoever would pay attention. Remember when she sang the song, 1 little, 2 little, 3 little Indians, 4 little, 5 little, 6 little Indians. She always did have a little trouble saying her R's. She sure did enjoy singing, but that's not what I'll remember her for. I personally think that people can have many different callings or things that they excel at, and one of those for Megan was definitely the violin. Think back to the music that she played during her 2 decades of playing the violin. I'm sure you're thinking of the theme song from the movie Platoon, right? I know that was her dad's favorite song that she played while in the symphonic orchestra in high school, and that was always one of her favorites too. Playing that song during competition was one of her proudest memories. She loved to hear her mom tell the story about how she overheard the other competitors talking smack, as Meg would say. They would say things like, no way they can play that, or they're going to sound terrible. But the moment the music started, soft and slow, they got really quiet. Yep, they sure did show them. That year, Meg helped them bring home another first place trophy. She was a fantastic violinist, and she continued to play in the church and for her family until her final days. We all have our nicknames that we called her: Meg, Megatron, Meganator, Skeeter. But there's 2 that meant the most to her: Sweetheart and Mom. Sweetheart was what Lee would call her. Lee, I have to take a minute here and tell this story that Meg would have wanted me to share. This story is about the time that you flew her out to Arizona to meet your family, and you proposed to her not once, but twice. Whenever she would tell this story, her entire face would light up. For those of you who may not know, Lee proposed to Megan with the Arizona sunset as the backdrop. He took her out into the Jeep into the middle of the desert, or what we would call the country here in East Texas, and he asked her to get out, but she wouldn't. She had heard that rattlesnakes come out at night, and she was afraid that she'd get bit. So Lee stayed outside the Jeep, and he got down on one knee, and he asked her to spend the rest of her life with him. She, of course, said yes, but then she said that she wanted him to ask her dad, which is why Lee ended up proposing twice. On October 23, 2004, Megan married her best friend, and they began their life together. She truly did find her soulmate when she married Lee. He really did complete her, and it is for that reason I say to you, Lee, I truly am sorry for your loss. Earlier I said that there were 2 nicknames that meant the most to Megan: Sweetheart and Mom. Not only did they mean a lot to her, but these words meant a lot to those around her, especially her son Luke. Megan loved Luke more than anyone in the world. In fact, the love that she had for her son helped solidify her belief in God. Every day she was amazed about the love that God has for each and every one of us. She would speak to whoever would listen about how she was reminded of his love every day when she looked at his precious face. I'm not sure if all of you know this, but I believe Meg would have wanted me to share this information with you. Megan taught children's Sunday school for many years, and in fact, while teaching with her mom, many of the children's parents would ask her mom if Meg was a teacher. Because of her experience teaching Sunday school, she began feeling like there was more that she should be doing with her life. So after much prayer and much discussion with Lee, she decided to go back to school to become a teacher. This is what she felt that God was leading her to do in her life. She was in the process of finishing her degree when her time here was abruptly cut short. I truly believe that she would have made an impact on those children's lives. But now I know that God was preparing her to do His work. To quote J.K. Rowling from Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, "To the well-organized mind, death is but the next great adventure." God was preparing her for the next great adventure, to do His work in paradise.